Hello, hello. We're going to talk about the Adin Toureg implant today. We're going to talk about what it is, who'd use it, what's it for, types of patients, what types of bone, indications, about the implant, macro design, prosthetics, where to get it from, and then give it kind of an overall score at the end. So who or what's this implant for? This type of implant is probably quite good at immediate loading, sort of D3, D4. So, medium, softer type bone, and it can be used in fresh sockets as well. The kit is relatively simple. It's got a fairly wide internal hex. It's got quite good prosthetic compatibility. So let's look at its macro designs. So the body is a tapered core shape with a double tap spiral V-shaped threads. Because it's got these two 1.2 millimeter pitch threads on there, it advances 2.4 millimeters every time you do a full turn. So because of that, it's got a fairly rapid bite. It does give you strong primary stability because of the way that it condenses that bone. It's not the most aggressive implant out there, but do be a little bit careful when you're going into that strong cortical bone and you've got a thin plate. Also, in the macro design, it has a round domed apex, which you might think might be anatomically friendly. Looking at its connection and platform, it's got a single platform across the range of 3.5 millimeters with a conical hex. If you look at some of the literature that's out there produced by Adin, they actually measure the diameter from one side of the hex to the other, and they record it as 2.42 millimeters. But essentially, when you're looking for your parts, it's that 3.5 millimeter that you're looking for, and that's what your lab will kind of use as their indicator. Also, it's nice to know it's got a Morse taper of 11.5 degrees if you want to use that Morse taper. The driver for this system is a hex driver, and it's 1.27 millimeters. That's for all the screws, all the prosthetic components that go into these implants. This implant, this is a grade 5 or a grade 23 type implant. So therefore, it's made of titanium with a combination of vanadium and aluminium. The Toureg S on that surface is aluminoblast and acid etched. So that has what they call the AE. So it's an SLA type surface. In addition to the range, you've got the Toureg OS or the Osso Fix, and this is calcium phosphate blasted. So it's a variant on the S implant. Macro design, all the same across the board. It's just that surface that differs. So it's a nice, simple, straightforward surgical protocol, nice, simple, straightforward kit to use. The kit to use goes from the top left across to the right, and there are two kind of drilling protocols that you can use with this. And the first one is to use the tap drill, and that's a sharp little needle drill, and you can use that up to 1,200 revolutions per minute. You then move along, if we're using the conventional approach, to the pilot drill. And then you go down to depth. It's got some really clear markers on there to help you. And then on the side of the kit is also the reference markers, just in case you're missing where to go. But there's also a big band that you can have a look at that's marked very clearly. Once you've used your pilot drill, you then move on to your twist drills, and you step up to the diameter of the implant you're going to use. They come in mounted and unmounted. So when you've got to the correct osteotomy size, you have a little part that'll fit into your handpiece, if that's the way you want to go. And then you've also got a connection that'll fit into the supplied torque wrench, and you can hand torque that in. And again, unmounted, mounted, both work with the system across the range. So I mentioned the second approach that you can use, and this is where you can use your tap drill again, but this time in addition, or instead of, the twist drills, you can use the tri-step drill. So your tri-step drill will eliminate the need for the use of your pilot drill and then the earlier, smaller drills. But you might need to prep, if you're using a wider type implant, you might just need to prep that up with your additional twist drill. Again, this depends on the type of bone that you've got and the situation that you're in. But I think the tri-step drill is a very unique way of drilling, and I quite like it. I find it very, very useful. If we look at the prosthetics now, it's got an internal hex, got a wide ecosystem of parts, stock abutments, multi-units, tie bases. It is compatible with third-party parts as well. It's got a good range of CAD/CAM libraries. We've got tie blanks that are available, and it can be used with 3Shape ExaCAD. Also, when I've looked into this, you can get cross-compatibility with the Zimmer, although do check on that. So what about some evidence and outcomes with this? Well, there are some papers out there that report that the system is the same as many other systems and the success rate really is just as good. There aren't a huge amount of really strong papers to back the Adin system up, but there are papers out there and there's lots of research that you can have a look at. It's just not very high powered. But I'd say, look at the research, do your own background checks. When I've been using this implant, one of the small minor little things about this is when you're fitting a multi-unit abutment on there, sometimes I have to just do a little bit of additional bone profiling when I'm getting those angles. The abutments just don't slot in. So that bone profiling before you actually place your implant, just to make room for that multi-unit abutment, if that's what you're doing, for example, such as a full arch case on those angled implants. And also just be a little bit careful in, as I mentioned earlier, in that more dense bone. If you've got a thin cortical plate, then you don't want to over torque that implant going in there and then stress that bone out and cause cracking that bone. So again, just go in there and prep it. Just fill that implant when it's going in. Just maybe reverse it back out again, back in again, or just prep it so the implant's not going in and you're not getting too much pressure on that bone. The real nice thing I like about this implant is with the temporary cylinders, they give you 2 screws, which I think is fantastic. So the supply for this implant in the UK is TRICARE, and they stock and sell the Adin implants. I think it's a fairly reasonable priced implant when you compare it to some of the US and the Swiss made implants out there. It doesn't have that feel of a budget implant at all. I think it's very, very reasonably priced. And in terms of who can use it, I think it's a very good generalist implant. Come to the scores. Primary stability and insertion control, I've given it 4.5 out of 5. I think it's great in soft bone, got lots of tactility to it. For its prosthetic ecosystem, with that internal hex, 4 out of 5. Broad with that addition of third-party availability. Digital workflow at this stage, 4 out of 5. Got the libraries, we've got tie blanks. I think that's expanding. It's probably going to change, probably going to go up. For a learning curve in the kit, I think it's a high. I think it's a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a real simple kit to use. I think the learning curve is relatively sharp. You pick it up real quick. And the design of the kit is really nice, really straightforward and compact as well. I think it's a good implant for generalists. I think its value, certainly in the UK, 4.5 out of 5, so strong. Good value implant. So overall score, 21.5 out of 25. I think it's a nice, budget-friendly implant. It's a general workhorse implant. That hex size going across the range is really, really useful. You don't have to be ordering separate parts, different size scan bodies. Really, really nice to have. And it works great for immediate soft bone cases and other cases. So there we have it.